Financial skills.
Yeah.
So we better have it as a separate person. And I think we changed that after the first year.
Okay.
Separated.
Passing it.
That baby's got all three. I think about 3 years old.
Yeah, true.
Not ready until about a month ago at Disney.
I haven't seen him in a long.
That's right.
Okay. That's-
Yeah.
I need to change that picture of the mouth. That picture. Just the logo. So I think I made it.
So is this an official meeting or are we
Workshop.
just a workshop, right? So we'll have to call to order and everything like that. We got a workshop.
There's an agenda posted, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to print them, but I mean, ideally, there's a recommendation coming out of this. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe what's into make a determination with the workshop next week, right?
Yes. But we can vote and take action on the workshop if we need to. Like, if we can move this along, let's do it.
Yeah, if there's a recommendation, then.
Then we can vote
Approve it as
that
that,
they
is
have to
correct?
do things, yes.
Cause yeah, you still be out front, that's good notice.
Yeah.
You can flip some agenda.
All right, it's 5:30. I'll call the meeting to order. This meeting was properly noticed.
Yes.
Adopt the agenda.
Officially. All right.
So,
Yep, so,
yes.
All those in favor?
yes.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion items, vehicle fleet transition and acquisition plan. So I guess the first question is, did you get answers to Mike's questions?
Yes, so the questions in for the vehicle count. There's a reference of 18, but the document is showing 15 and 14. What makes it the difference of that there are 14 actual vehicles. One of those 14 is a Canoa vehicle, so there are 13 Croa vehicles. There are 3 trailers. Those are 3 of those registrations. There is 1 registration of a, I'm gonna call it a ghost vehicle that we have a registration for from CCMC days with no vehicle actually in our hands.
Is that the, I don't know if you saw my thing, that's the unidentified one that was at the top of.
Yes, yes, it is.
So
So that
it doesn't exist.
it doesn't exist.
Okay.
The
So,
registration,
so you really have 14 vehicles,
we really have 14 vehicles, 13 are Croa vehicles, 1 is a Canoa vehicle.
right? But doesn't Canoa control their own vehicle?
They do,
Yeah, so we don't have to discuss that one.
correct.
How many vehicles do they have?
1,
One.
a Chevy Equinox.
Yeah, that was on the,
Okay, well, the sheet that I looked at,
Which I can pull that up too.
yeah, I said, when I sent that out, I said 15, but there was one at the very top that didn't go over into the nickname column.
right, that's.
That's the ghost
It
vehicle.
doesn't exist.
That doesn't
That is
exist.
just, okay, so then my 15 number on that chart was right.
Right, with Canoa.
Yes.
Everyone, so it's
And Canoa's 1, so it's 14.
14.
And how many of those, off the top of your head, is it?
4 trucks, 1 car, and 6. That's,
Then, as far as mileage, it slightly really does range. Service areas pulls a heavy amount and then maintenance and parks and rec is pulling the rest of that, averaging around $500 a month when all submitting together. Can we provide approximate mileage for each of
Hold
the
on.
need?
I was thinking something else.
Okay.
So say that again, how much, 500 a month? That's total,
Total,
and it's mostly coming from service areas?
about, what would that be? 30% of that is service areas.
What does that mean, service areas?
The
townhomes.
townhomes. They have an administrator and a director for all the townhome HOAs, the 14 townhome associations. And
So
they're
how
out
come the
field.
mile reimbursement?
We just started that, yeah,
Because why?
because he was using his vehicle so much.
There's no vehicle
There's no
for
vehicle
them
for
to
them.
use. And that one has really shot up this year as the transition in service areas from the prior staff to the current staff has made it, that role at least 30, sometimes closer to 60% out in the field. And then outside of that is maintenance, heavy, and the director and supervisor. Actually, solely the director and supervisor. And then the rest is parks and rec. And those are mainly director and supervisor as well.
Jim, you said 4 trucks, 1 car, 6 nevs.
4 trucks, 1 car, 9.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the existing trucks and cars don't have to be replaced, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not at this point is just looking at the net, it's phasing out the nevs.
I guess just looking at the maps, I break it into 2 sections, 6 that are what, 2017, or no, 5 that are 2017 and earlier, 4 that are
16.
2019 and later.
3 are 2016, 2 are 2017,
So I guess
It's fine.
in the
1
discussion,
is 2019, 1 is 2021, and 2 are 2022.
so I guess on the net discussion, I guess actually there's the 2022s.
No matter the
2021,
year, including the new
2019,
ones.
Are they issues with those or are
Yes.
they still functional?
No, those are all of the newer ones listed out as inspectors. Most of those are right now offline.
So how many of the 9 are actually working?
On a rotating basis, about half.
So the one with
And when we say
4,000
working, I mean, we're seeing about 3 times a week, nevs dying out in the field, needing pushed to a location to charge enough to get back. They'll start them off with, and they'll say a full battery, they start going, battery is dead, even though the batteries have recently been replaced.
So what is the battery pack warranty?
The batteries typically have a 1-year warranty, but it's not we've had them looked at, it's the vehicle, how they're using the battery. It seems like it's the computer. So
Really?
Mhm.
I did research on the battery pack warranties, and they had originally passed where it was 100,000 miles or
We thought that would be the first. That's why in the
8 years.
beginning of what's around Q2 of 2025, we went to the board asking for all the new batteries because this issue was happening. We thought this has to be battery related. And then during the change of all the batteries, we're still seeing complications that are each time a different compiling battery.
So you think it's the actual NEVs that are the problem?
Mhm.
And even the ones bought in 2022,
Yes,
2021.
Which, correct me if this is not a right statement, but I think the usage of the NEVs is overburdened or incorrect for what they are functionally, and that is
that's the
pretty
first
much
thing.
deteriorating them faster or causing them to fail in the field.
Yeah.
That they were never meant to be those types of utility vehicles as the staff is trying to use them.
Correct.
Have we had any?
Much I buy off on that. I mean, they're vehicles that are going down the road. They're a simple machine. They get charged up. The strain that a maintenance guy is putting on them is not that great, right? And then I don't understand why they're breaking down prematurely. I did some research too, and they say the batteries will last 5 to 8 years, more with good care. And the vehicle, hundreds of thousands of miles, obviously it's just a mechanical vehicle, it's like a go-kart. There's nothing
I
to it.
would say in my experience of owning a NEV, you are not getting better in more than 3 years. So in the 5 to 10 year, it is not the same. Even cars, you're not getting the car battery for more than 3 years based on Florida and heat and everything else. So if you're changing NEV batteries every 2 to 3 years, guaranteed.
My Tesla is,
Tesla's
now
totally different.
13th year.
We're talking that, not Tesla, though. That's a totally different scenario.
Jacob, how do they charge them? Is it just a cord and plug in, or are there any settings on the charger or on the batteries?
Yeah.
It's just a plug in like a go-kart or like a golf cart?
Yes, some of the newer ones have a special adapter to charge into them. Some of them are just a standard extension cord.
110.
A fair amount of the older ones have been modified in years to work with adapters or not.
So has this been going on for years? And we're just now trying to make a decision, or?
We've had issues with the NEVs on and off. It's escalated the last couple of years. You've added a lot more staff to maintenance. You've added a lot more inspectors, so they're getting more and more use. I mean, when I started, we had 2 inspectors, now you have 6. And same with maintenance, you had 4, now you have 8
Yeah.
next. So not only are you adding more people, you're just using vehicles more and more nonstop all day, every day.
Right,
Yeah.
but they can't be used in Spring Lake or Iowa Village.
Exactly.
So we had idle vehicles before, you're saying?
You did.
And then changing department leadership in both of those as well, ensuring that the staff is moving and working, is putting more. You're seeing less idle vehicles. One, just through processes, so they're working, they have a list of work orders, so they're not dilly-dallying, they're going out and around. The main thing we want to just discuss is how do we, what vehicles do we want to look at, and how do we want to do those acquisitions? That's the real lean on the finance committee.
Yeah, I would like to know, because, are you looking at sedans? Are you looking at SUVs? Are you looking at smaller pickup trucks? I mean,
So the original for maintenance started with a few pickup trucks and a few of these, some kind of a Dodge work van. You see a lot of the kind of a 2-door with a hatchback style van. Those Dodge and there's another vendor have each, Ford, have each discontinued those models. So we're seeing them on the road, but they do not make them anymore. And looking at what are they leaning to or recommending is the Ford Maverick has often been what their clients are moving over to. When we looked at that for that purpose, as well as we were looking at vehicle or truck acquisitions, we wanted to do a mixture of that for the maintenance department. It turned out it was best priced to do all Ford Mavericks. Yours should see kind of show the same as far as pickup truck goes.
Yeah.
That those provide the better usage as that for that. Then for the inspectors, there's a lot more flexibility.
Yeah.
One of the main things we were looking at was just the ease of entrance and exit. We had even just with the furniture package, a member of the board brought up accessibility and what are our thoughts on accessibility. As they are at least a dozen to sometimes 2 dozen in and out of the vehicle a day. That we were looking at something that isn't as much of a sedan as right now with they're in crossovers and the NEVs, which are easier entry exit. That's why we were proposing something more on the Ford Escape or the Chevy Cruze, as they're those small compact SUVs.
yeah, there's a lot of those.
And
the list that I provided.
the ones that management's recommending was the Ford Escape, mainly so we can try to merge to one brand, just for easier fleet management. So if we were looking at the Ford Maverick, then that's why the Ford Escape
Escapes.
was listed out on there. There's nothing wrong with the Chevy
tracks.
Trax. I keep saying Cruze and I meant Trax, thank you, because the Cruze is a small sedan, not a crossover. So the Chevy Trax, the team, that vehicle works great for inspectors. It is a good choice. The only area of concern is just doing another, we were looking at, as far as if we were doing a lease or trying to do fleet management, trying to lean the fleet all to one vehicle manufacturer.
Which I think that's appropriate that we kind of have a hodgepodge of different vehicles at the moment, so we should try to uniform that and that makes sense. I guess for the needs that you're looking for, I see too, right? You have the community standards, that's something smaller. You have your facilities that you're looking for an actual truck. That's kind of the 2 breakdowns.
We tried to challenge with porters. I said, do porters really need a Maverick? Is something like the inspectors is driving, is that sufficient enough? They said often, or if they have the accessibility to, they do like to stock the porters with ladders because of a lot of what they need to do to get is getting out to clean. So that's why they were recommending the Chevy or the Mavericks for the porters inside the maintenance team as well.
And then,
Because that was the
What I
first
was
thing I was
looking
trying to.
I guess. My question to you was the urgency of this, right? Because in looking at the reserve study, we have over the next 4 years, about 330,000 set for vehicle replacement. Now I just did some quick and dirty math, but if we do. 6 smaller trucks and 3 larger trucks, smaller at 35,000, higher at 40,000. Within that time period, you can pretty much overhaul all these that you're looking to replace. So where is the push of we need to lease vehicles today versus we should be doing some type of phased approach with our existing reserves that we have in place over say the next 3 years?
The only benefit to leasing, and this would be weighed if we looked at purchasing, which is also just as fine as an option that we were looking at, is looking at service plans when we do vehicle acquisition. So if we were looking at the purchase price, also looking at considerations for the fleet management service plans on those vehicles as well.
But again, we're only keeping them, say, for 3 to 5 years, we should all be under the $60,000 or 60-mile warranties for the most part, so there really shouldn't be any service that would be on these vehicles except for oil changes.
Okay, so
You can buy them outright, and you can buy a service plan too.
If
You wanna go
the
that way?
recommendation
You
is to
evaluate
buy
that separately,
outright,
yeah.
we don't have any problem with the buyout or buying outright option. Our recommendation would be to add those.
Lease is a terrible option. I mean, it's just not a good financial option to buy a car, unless you want to get a new car every 3 years. We don't want to get a new car every 3 years. We want to run the wheels off these things. We want to ride them into the boneyard. So that's when we get the best fiscal use of the money to put into it. So it's the best in the world. So to lease a car, then have to buy another one and take the depreciation out and everything else every 3 years. Crazy. Makes no sense.
So do you have, so there's 9 navs you want to replace over time? Right?
Yes.
And I'm saying that I'm back with Andrew because I was looking at replacing 5 now.
Well, no, I'm saying over time. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
9 total vehicles.
And how many additional trucks are you looking at based upon your conversation?
I did numbers on that. So going back a little, or maybe getting off track here. Looking at full built out Celebration and what that org chart looks like, we need 24 vehicles total
We need 10 more.
over the next 5 years. Yeah.
That's
That's
with the
not-
existing, that's the existing employee count.
We'll
or
pay mileage.
just the employee count?
We'll just pay mileage. We'll use our own cars.
Now, I mean, we can go through this and figure out if that really is the number. I think that the plan here is to come up with a 12-year rotation or a 10-year rotation of phased out vehicles, and the oldest vehicle, whatever we just purchased gets 12 years gets replaced. And we figure how that works in a long-term replacement plan.
Yeah, it's-
Are you coming up with it based upon growth in Celebration or just?
No, the Island Village full build out.
You could have 2 people in Island Village handling everything.
Well,
I mean,
hey, you could have much less than
Really?
that if you think.
Yeah,
that's-
How to extrapolate that? What did
Can we
you-
put a pin on that? Because I think
Sure.
you're looking forward, which I think that's
Yeah,
appropriate.
I want to
do
know
at
what
some
we want to
point,
do
but
over the next 2
Let's
years.
just look at the 9 that they're
Pull up
looking at.
another
and then
document that will share.
That's a future concern.
So just for additional context, when management took this to the board in December, there was preface to the board that even though it's listed as an action item, we know this will most likely be tabled and discussed, but we just had it as an action in case action wanted to be taken by the board, but knowing that it most likely end up where we are now.
Yep.
On that, really what we're looking at on the immediate future is 6 trucks and 3 inspector vehicles. That is a swapping out of the NEVs, of the current NEVs, solving the current immediate operational problems.
By when?
This is one as soon as we can.
That's replacing 914 vehicles that we have today.
Correct.
All the NEVs. I'm
We don't,
thinking the NEVs is more of a phased approach. You hold back 4 of those or 5 of those and deal with them. Get somebody in to work on them, get them fixed up, put some money into them and buy some time. Because I mean, why would you get rid of a NEV that's got 8,000 miles on it, or a NEV that's got 2,000 miles on it, or 5,000 miles on it? I mean, it's just,
we wouldn't be recommending this if we weren't having constant issues with them. For training expenses, they're not meeting. We just can't, they aren't working for the operation. There's so many of them sitting idle due to they're waiting on service requests. We're weeks out from those service vendors coming, then they come. Now they've diagnosed, they order parts, those parts are then weeks out, they get the parts, we're another 2 weeks out for them to come back to change the piece is then fixed, the vehicle now turns on. It still doesn't work because now that they've gotten that far, there's new issues coming.
This is, I mean, has anyone done research on it? This is happening all over with these models that we have.
We're not,
I mean, you've got 4,000 miles on one, 8,000 on another, and you're saying they're no good.
I don't understand that this thing came to a peak very quickly. We didn't hear anything all last year ago. Now we have all these vehicles that we want to throw away for between 5 and 8, and your estimate on salvage value is between $5,000 and $18,000 for 9 vehicles. I think we can put a lot of repair into them and get some more mileage out of them and nurse this thing for some period of time, some kind of phase, as I said, 5 or 4, whatever it is. But not a complete replacement, just they're all bad. They can't all be bad. We don't have 9 NEVs that are all bad. We gotta get rid of them all tomorrow morning. That's just not, doesn't pass our smell test.
What you guys conversation would be with our replacement? Would you want to do a 3-year transition or a 2-year transition? If you do a 2-year transition, then you can do your 4 or 5.
We could do a
Oh,
2-year, with the capital fund, we can do a 2-year transition. I mean,
You have a replacement,
could-
but you don't need to touch. Yeah.
well, we can use both replacement and.
Yeah, we're fine. I mean, the capital fund's not gonna go below $1 million next year.
Oh, well, as long if we keep pushing off the multi-courts.
Yeah, well, those are right now planned for the 4th quarter.
Right,
And there's still $1 million at least or more.
right. And
Projection.
a lot depends on sales, which again, interest rates.
But again, the vehicle decision should have no impact on capital.
I disagree. I think we can use the capital fund.
You can use it, but I'm saying your replacement has the money allocated already.
You got 300,000.
It's still capped.
Right, there's
Still on the
330 over, how many
So
years?
we would
4
propose
years.
4 years.
replacing the 6 worst NEVs and this year, and then replacing the following 3 next year. And we can dump some money into, or later if we can push it off.
Okay, I'll counter that with 5 and 4. I mean, what's negotiating?
Well, hold on.
What's the logic behind
If you
that?
say you want to do those 6, what 6 vehicles do you want to
Yeah,
replace?
and
it
why?
with? Are you talking about the cheaper Rangers or are you talking about more trucks?
we're mainly we need to do this in
And
maintenance and do one for community standards. So this would be one of the newer 2022s. And there's one that has been operational for a long time. And then 5 of the maintenance vehicles.
so it'd be the 5 Mavericks and 1 small crosser.
The one.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of cheaper cars, I think, that if we get all the same trucks, I agree with. But some of the smaller cars, we want to get a Ford.
No, like the Chevy
The Chevy
Trax
Trax
is a good option. and
Yeah, we
they-
could negotiate. Like I have a very good relation with Hyundai of Central Florida. If we want to get a few of those, like if I told them, we're gonna buy 5 over the next year and a half, 2 years, I'm sure there'd be huge incentives. Or somewhere else. I mean, to your point, I mean, as long as you agree that you're gonna buy the same vehicle for the inspectors, I think the negotiations could come through.
I guess I want to go back just for a second to the total number of vehicles. Is that the right number? We have 14 today. I don't know if that's the right number. I think about that.
So I think in an ideal world, for maintenance, you'd have 2 techs to a vehicle.
Yeah.
And then one shared between, the supervisor and the lead, at least for right now.
Okay.
And then, with inspectors, they all need their own vehicle because they're all out. It's not like
Is it covenants people?
yeah,
Why can't they go to a car and go to an area and go in the opposite directions and come back and meet the car?
that's not how the assignments are made to meet the metrics.
So yeah, I guess
By
with
village.
the
It's by
inspector,
village.
on the inspector conversation. Why wouldn't you just say the 2 Chevy tracks, which do kind of North Village and then Island Village, which are your vehicles, and then that's do with the rest of the villages that are closer.
That meets our proposal, as well as holding 2 of the,
What I'm saying, just for that, for community standard, right? Can they survive on, we replace out one of the NEVs?
That's what we're proposing right now.
I know, but I'm breaking it up into inspection or community standards and facilities.
That's what we're proposing right now.
So just once
When we
we
talk
talk,
trucks,
for that,
yeah,
right?
when we
Yeah.
talk,
We're
the
not
trucks,
talking
we're
trucks,
talking,
it's maintenance only. We're
when
not
we,
talking a truck for community standards.
All right, so you need 1 Chevy trucks,
Yeah,
then let's talk facility then. Because I think we can agree they can go 1 for that inspection.
I'm not sold on solo community standards vehicles. And and then you said the metrics cause that because
I'm
of
not
that.
saying the metrics cause that, but that's one of the driving factors. They all need to be in their own assigned villages, doing their own individual inspections. They're not, 2 people aren't inspecting the same area at the same time.
It should be. See, we're a small organization. You've got so much overhead. We try to spread it. And once you start to specialize inside an organization, you just create more cost. It's a business model. So you can't have things isolated like that and say, this is yours and this is yours and put up walls. We've got to have fungibility across that in order to get the best use of the capital. Then there are other things.
Couldn't we change it to where every inspector has a couple different villages that they work with a second
But
one?
one day they work as a team with one village and the next day they work as a team in another village.
That's what I was
So you
saying.
can still get to the same end result. It's just the path they're gonna take to get there. Instead of working in isolation, they're gonna work as a team.
Right.
It's a tag team. And I think they can keep up with your specs.
None of this has addressed Parks and Rec though.
I just wanna give one at a time, but that I think
We're
would
not
get us more,
for additional
a couple.
Trying to get rid of people.
Parks and Rec has 2 trucks, right?
Yeah.
So, and which are okay. So if they need another truck, then that's another discussion.
And well, I think we're pausing the new vehicles conversation. We're just trying to figure out how to get vehicles that function for the team. Because the NEVs are not functional.
Right.
And let's get back to the numbers. So if you do double up the covenants, does that take out 1 or 2 vehicles or what does it take
Well,
out?
they only have
there's,
3
so
right now.
here, there's a total of 10 staff in community standards using vehicles. There are 4 vehicles in total for community standards.
Yeah.
What our recommendation on amount of vehicles to be the middle is 7. 7 is the number, so we could basically doubling up.
Thank you.
7 is the number of vehicles you're recommending?
If we had
Not
It-
right now.
if we had a, blank check, 7 would be able to do everything efficiently in the current process. If we change the process and we try to cut down, we can stay at the current vehicle.
Please
And I
change
think
the
that-
process.
Mhm.
Okay, good. I would just like to talk about 2026. Because as the year goes on, things can change, right?
So
And right now, that's what we can concentrate on. And we can have these in the back, but let's agree on what we're gonna do for 2026.
Thank you.
So, and that way we can start negotiating the purchases and get this thing going.
So at this point, we would recommend 5 Mavericks and 1 Chevy Trax.
Yeah, I think that's a fair.
5 for facilities, 1
And
for
1 for
this.
inspectors, and then we'll limp along with the remaining NEVs that we're not replacing.
Yeah, and if something comes up during the year that if we see that we need to do something more, then we can do it, but as far as going to the board for this, we can agree
I think this is a reasonable approach.
that, you know, and then negotiate with whatever Fort Dearly negotiating with. And, you know, say, okay, we're gonna buy 5 of these in the next 4 or 5 months. That way, you get a deal. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with.
Now, our approach would be though requesting for the 5 altogether. Doing a phase out of all, not a 1 month
Okay.
basis.
So what I will ask is that we can suggest that, but until we know what those costs are gonna be,
Mhm.
say we can do them all at once. I think the finance committee should know that first before a decision is made.
Is it 5 or is it 6?
It's 5
It's
matters or 1 tracks.
Well, I mean, there's 6 vehicles.
Yes.
Right,
Brand doesn't matter.
Well, you,
5
you,
or
you
6.
can most likely, if you're buying 5 Mavericks at one time, you know, they probably get a discount versus,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even if
At
you
five
were,
Mavericks, get 1 traction for free.
I think it's the
Well,
minimum in the whole scheme. of things.
there's a small 4 vehicle too you could look at, right? And see if you could get them all from the Ford.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, because then you can get a deal on all of them. And even if you said we don't, you know, we need these, because they may not have all the cheapest ones there, but if they can order it and say, well, yeah, we can have it done in 45 days.
They were able to, for what we were looking at, they were able to source the mini Mavericks altogether by pulling from.
Yeah.
So
And the other thing is, some of these are offering, you know, pre-financing for 6 months. Where then you can just pay the cash later. So I don't know if Ford's doing that or not, but there are a lot of places.
Or a community vote to take that out, right?
What's that?
That's go to community vote for debt for the.
No, it's not that. What you do is you
No,
tell
I'm
them,
saying for our community, you're taking a loan out.
yeah.
but you.
On
I
anything,
do that.
that's a whole different vote, so. I
Oh,
would even go
okay,
down.
never mind.
There is, Jim's right. I mean, it's the craziest thing I ever heard of. One of my sons bought a new Hyundai. The guy was gonna pay cash. The guy told him, no, you want to finance it because I can take the price down another $2,500.
Exactly.
And then he went in 10 days later and he paid off the cut. He picked up $2,500.
I did the
The
same.
separate finance company is a separate profit center and everything else. They have incentives that these guys, the dealership couldn't access. So he just put it on a loan for 10 days, so when he paid it off.
I did the same
He made
thing.
$2,500. Yeah. So if there's that kind of financing available, an incentive for financing, we can look at that and pay it off very quickly then. I mean, we can take advantage of that. If it's
That's
$2,500.
taking out. the
Does that require
association requires a community vote.
It's
Whatever,
worth-
whatever savings you're doing, I'm always on the phone, going out for 10 grand.
It's worth looking at,
Yeah.
because if it's $2,500 a vehicle, we're buying 6 vehicles, that's worth,
That's serious money.
yeah.
Is it worth a $2,000 savings because you're paying 10 to
And if-
vote?
And
yeah, but
No, not if we do it on the
Don't
election
do
that's coming in
both.
March.
I'm just,
And now
let's think of how we can
do it.
let's think of how we can get
If
around.
we're fully
it.
funded and we can.
Yeah.
If we're fully funded to just pay the
I'll
rest.
pick it to legal.
Yeah.
It's like a cash advance. We're just gonna take some
Right.
money from them for a period of time.
We could
It's
put the
not-
money in escrow and consider it that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to escrow.
There's gotta be.
it makes total sense. It just,
If it's
as far as
available.
the HOA works, if we can do it or not without a vote, that's the only thing we will look into.
Hyundai had it, I know that, still has it. But you've run into it before, I've never seen that. That was the craziest thing.
yeah, because I Tucson, I.
Well, that's right, so you were part of that.
So, yeah, that's what I know. That's why I have a good relationship with them. So I got 5,000.
And unfortunately, it makes sense, it's just can I mutually do that based on the different parameters they have on it.
Well,
So,
because it's perfect sense and it's good for the residents, we gotta figure out how to do it around the paperwork of the organization. Legally.
So
Especially
we
since
can come back and.
especially since
We're
we're not-
not.
we're not officially borrowing any money because we're not getting money. At that time. So it's something to look at. It's something to look at. But I think are we all kind of okay with the 6 vehicles?
Just talk about the Nevs for a minute. Are you going to try to cull the herd and keep the best ones or keep them all around like spare tires or how are you gonna approach this?
I know of, so we're with the Nevs, we can look at 2 community standards. Those are the newer ones anyway. So it does make sense if we are going to invest in them. Those are the ones to invest in, as well as one, possibly two that are already identified within facilities. That would be the ones we'd keep, because one is newer, the truck that is used, the truck nav that is used.
Yeah, I would say the 2022 NAVs, there should be nothing wrong. They're only
No
3
worries,
years
that's
old.
gotta be.
That's gotta be something that should be functional for at least the next 5 years, I would say.
I would suggest you find a provider of these things. They can come in here, fly in or whatever, and they look at our fleet and they tell us which one's gonna be fixed, which one's
We go
not.
directly to Jem for maintenance. It just takes them time to get out here.
Okay, but I think they should be the ones that make the decision on which ones we're keeping everything. They come in and do an assessment of them. That'd be money well spent, so we have an expert saying to us, these are beyond, this is okay.
Could we let the residents, talk here for a minute?
A quick question for the NAVs that we dispense with. Can we sell them and get a little money from them, like a used car?
Yes.
Yes.
So there's, we could get a ballpark estimate on the value of those to bring to the board. It makes the whole process a little bit more palatable. to know
Yeah, that was
we're gonna get
provided.
We provided it.
$5,000.
We can't allow test driving of them with the HOA's insurance, or even write a, do a write-off.
I mean, can you sell them to a wholesaler or somebody?
We've had two parties not interested in buying some.
Your best bet is a rent.
They estimated 5,000 to 18,000, somewhere between there for 9 vehicles. 9 vehicles.
Okay.
I have a question, a couple questions. On the NAVs, who is doing the overseeing the maintenance as far as when you send it out for servicing? Do you have a company that you use or,
Jem flies in from Georgia to.
and are they like the guru of NAVs?
They're, the brand is Gem,
Yeah.
the Nevs are, so it's,
Okay, because to Andrew's point, they're 2 years old, so we should be able to get more life out of them. And the other thing is, what about off-fleet sales, lease sales, 2-year-old vehicles? Mavericks have been out for at least 2 years now. Why can't we buy a 2023 with low miles and with a discounted price appreciation? As opposed to buying new. We're gonna put low miles on anyway, and they've got low miles on them, they've only got a couple of years on them.
Hey, who do you go to? Which Ford dealer? Could you send the finance committee the make and models for that?
it was in that, it's in the sheet.
Yeah, it's James.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Their VIN numbers are in there.
Oh, that's right.
So I would ask respectfully, look into something 3 years old as opposed to buying brand new. You're gonna run low miles anyway.
And if you want to get a uniform fleet, then I'm not saying that's the right answer. It's gonna be hard to do that probably. If you want a uniform fleet, because you're not gonna find 5 or 6 Mavericks someplace cool.
I don't know about that. You see all these pest control companies and all these companies with a fleet of the same vehicle or white vehicle. I think a little diligence and a little research we could find. See, maybe it's worth it, I don't know.
I think we should look at it, yeah. We should evaluate both probably,
Yeah.
side by side and see
Well,
what
that's all part of the negotiation.
Yeah.
You know,
To that point,
he says
though,
we got 3 new and 2 that are only have.
But you're gonna have to search out those, they aren't gonna give you the used market, you're gonna have to search that out, and you'll go to CarMax or something like that and go online and look at the inventory. How in a radius do you accumulate them?
Jared Gordon.
Yeah, Jared Gordon Ford,
Jared,
Jared.
JERRETT Gordon Ford.
but then there's an option, if you want to go the used route, then you might be able to get more vehicles than what you paid for now, so.
No,
That's-
Star, yeah,
that's
Chevrolet,
not
it's a
itself.
Chevrolet dealership, yeah.
The ask from the board was a fleet plan out of this meeting, wasn't it? So are we gonna talk about that or are we just not talking about it? Like,
well, we were agreeing on what we were gonna do this year unless things change.
yeah, but everything we've talked about was already what we talked about at the board meeting. And this is like what management presented, so we're not,
I guess-
nothing's
No,
changed.
management presented.
Well, I think the fleet plan,
Part
part
of
of
the
it.
fleet plan is that I think you are too, that we're against a lease fleet program for celebration, that we should be purchasing vehicles and keeping us.
Yeah, I think maybe you're saying, we're talking about one thing here, what's the right number of cars and how do we utilize them? And now we're gonna change, I think, the covenants or the standard, inspectors. So that they'll be paired up more, they're gonna have to change the way they route them and what their responsibilities are. We're gonna be able to operate with fewer cars there. So I think that's a plan to reduce or make our fleet more efficient. What else are you thinking about?
How many vehicles we need and how we're gonna pay for them over the next 5 years? What is our plan for vehicles total in the town and how are we not gonna do this every year? We just decided to purchase 6 vehicles. So what are we doing next year? And the year after that, and how are we replacing these when they come in? This is a phased schedule for the future.
Well, at the NEVs that are gonna be breaking down after they fix them up, so we'll be replacing those over time. But I hope that doesn't happen for a couple, 3 years at the earliest.
If you want to plan, it would be 6 this year and 3 next year. As far as them to solve the 9 that they're.
That solves the nine that they're asking.
But is that all vehicles that we need total?
Here's the vehicles that are not in
I
discussion.
think as of today, yes.
Not in discussion, we have vehicles from a 2020, 2024s, and 2025s. But we do have some more time with the current fleet that is not, I'll say that, anything that is not in NEV currently is almost all of 24 or 25 with one 2020.
Yeah,
Right, that's
that's
the Chevy, that's the Chevy Silverado, which has.
Sorry, if you're looking more for like fleet thing, that we're not buying anything new or replacing unless it's 5 years old or 60,000 miles, something like that. That's
That's the kind of stuff that I thought we were gonna be talking about. If we're not, that's fine.
No,
That's what I thought we were talking about
I
here.
think, but to me, to Jared's point, I think a longer term plan in terms of you're going to need to add additional vehicles. But I think so we do need to come up with a plan for that, and what that looks like when either village is fully built out. Which one of the questions that Mike asked is the team hasn't been submitting for mileage reimbursement for more than like a month. So maybe getting a quarter or a half a year worth of data on that might tell the story in terms of a long-term plan of what we really need.
Okay.
But I agree that we do need to come up with a long-term plan. And that was kind of one of the intents of this meeting.
I think the plan also is better. And that I lean on finance's opinion on is, does that plan include, well, I mean, you just ruled out leasing, purchasing, adding service plans. Those recommendation on leaning the fleet towards one make or one make. Yeah, thank you. Those types of recommendations, so we can then
Don't forget
forward with.
evaluating, year-old or 2-year-old low mileage car,
Mhm.
a used car.
And service plans typically are not a very good way to go. I've bought dozens of cars, I've never done it, because if you do the math, they win, that's why they do it. And
We're in the better end of that risk pool because we have low mileage, easy miles, everything else, and our experience probably is gonna be real low. So we're gonna be subsidizing everybody else in that pool.
take the risk.
Yeah,
But I think for a long-term plan, we need more information, right? Because again, either changing the standards process or how many miles are actually being used by associates. Are associates using the same car, needing the car at the same time throughout the day? We need all that more information than just the first Monday of January trying to figure out things.
Jacob enumerated some of the things that we're kind of coming to here that you may want to try to capture on a piece of paper, so we got some guidelines or some guideposts. But doing cars like this, the rolling stock, it's situation from year to year to year. Now, we could put it in the replacement fund, the replacement plan, and what we think we're gonna have every year. We do the budgeting process and project out that way.
They are in place.
Yeah, I know, so we'll continue to do that, but it's really situational. There's so many things that come up.
So the way I see it is, we know we're gonna replace 9 vehicles, or we're gonna get 9 vehicles. At this point in time, that's what we know.
Only 6 now.
6 now and 3 next year.
Yeah.
But we'll evaluate the 3 next year, because if we have good luck with the gems, get them repaired and everything else.
Right.
the situation at that time, we'll come back and look at it.
Or
at a later date. Correct.
if Island Village 2B all of a sudden is selling like crazy, then we'll have to be looking at another car for inspectors, at least. So, I mean, that's why I want to concentrate on this year. It's what we do in business, is we concentrate on this year and we'll do our long-term plan. Yes, do a long-term plan, but you only can do that based on what you know about it today.
And Jared, we can take that on from the committee of getting more information from them so that a plan is put into place as the year goes on of.
Sure,
what is the
that's my,
usage and
so
everything
that's
else.
just what the ask was.
Yeah, one note I noticed inside the reserve study, that the line NEVs is broken out based on the year of acquisition. Also, there's the funding of $9,000 annually for battery replacement. Which eventually with all of that would be phased out. For trucks, the line right now is just one, knowing the quantity at the time was 3 by Croa, with a useful life of 6 years. So it's on a 6-year rotation with trucks. In the current.
In the current
In the
plan,
current thing.
but a Silverado. should
But a
be
useful
able to
life
last.
of a net is 7 years and we haven't even gotten 3 out.
Yeah,
Like all this is
Mhm.
useless information.
Yeah.
Really,
we should be able to get more than 6 years out of a truck.
also that.
That, I mean, it brings you
We put
to,
10,000
there's
miles
a
on
20,
it, 60,000
Yeah,
miles. That's
we
American
have
cars
a-
now run over 100,000, like nothing for taking care.
I think we are in agreement. We have a 2020 Ford truck or Chevy truck right now that, you know, in accordance to this, it's 6 years in 2026, it would be up for replacement. We're not recommending replacement.
That's what's got
Right, that's what we
75,000
need.
miles on it.
Yeah,
Yes,
We need to understand that
Those
too,
things
though,
will last
how much
2
mileage are you putting on
That's all it
the
is.
vehicles, right? That we don't know. If you're putting 12,000 on, then yeah, we can hold them for 7 or 8 years. If you're putting 25,000 on, then yeah, 5 years is probably gonna be it. So,
yeah, that's where I think your point on with the replacement of vehicles at that point, it is more on a case by case basis. We're looking at, like I said, this, we have a case right now where there's one that is up for replacement based on the reserve study that we wouldn't recommend replacing.
so we're not gonna replace any more NEVs, we're just going to go to vehicles. I think that's something,
which I don't know about you, but I'm supportive of that. I think we should be phasing out minutes as we go.
Yeah.
Clearly celebration as
No, I mean, that's what we
expanded,
agree
but that's no
with. So that's-
longer a vehicle that makes sense for.
so Jared, that's
But not
the
9
agreement of the finance committee is to get involved now. So
Okay,
we're gonna get 6, we're gonna be 2 steps, 6.
At least 2 steps.
Yeah.
It could be, it could be longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are 9 NEVs in total. The recommendation is it's replacing 6 of those 9 this year.
I thought
5 are maintenance, 1 is community standards. And then selecting the 3 best NEVs that we can,
In all
work
honesty, I would have put
with.
that caveat on there. If you want to still use all the NEVs right now, go do it, because trading it in is only 5, 10, 15,000. So if you guys need it to do work or things of that nature, then yeah, definitely sell the crappy ones that no longer work, but if there is usable value for something, then there's no reason just to throw it out. So that
So your
is on your
recommendation,
discretion.
so that is, okay. That would add,
So maybe
registration.
have Jim review the notes and make recommendations. What
I
to,
think what's usable of it, see, to cobble together.
Cause again,
Kind of
one that
expert opinion.
says you need to put $10,000 to fix it, okay, that's.
So you keep- we know the
If
numbers.
2,000 for a battery, that's another conversation. So- But for the 6 vehicles, that's just for grant manager function in the community, right? For the net, you guys find out what the gym person comes back with as far as what the condition is and what the issues are. Then we can identify, does it make sense to repair or put out the pasture?
Yeah. They're also sales, so it's one of those, are we gonna recommend selling more, repairs on it? What we can look
Yeah,
at.
if you do trade in,
Yeah.
you do get the sales tax benefit, but
Mhm.
again. Is that only gonna be a couple $1,000, so.
Yeah, well,
The sale price is a couple $1,000, so then the tax rate is
Register-
only 100 to.
changing the tax, what I was looking at doing currently, which would be, if we kept any of the old fleet, it would be acquiring new tag, which isn't much, but it's still something of consideration.
would you use someone that's not the factory themselves? I have a gem, but I don't use them, I use a local guy.
It's true, I've talked about this.
I think if we could have that person, at least I was gonna say, a local expert, somebody in town, they'll come and oversee the inspection by the gem manufacturer and be able to ask the right questions. To bring that balance to the conversation, as you said, they're in the business of selling stuff. Bring some reason to it.
Yeah, I don't
You
know,
like
Jared,
your guy, Jared?
I don't know if he's the same person I do, but I'm sure they can come out and look at them and
Yeah.
do their own review, right? And if there is something wrong with it, you can have them fix it.
Well, he just fixed it.
Yeah. Rather than wait for someone from
Yeah.
out of state to come and check.
It's going to the dealership or going to Fat Boys. It's like, that's the difference. And I don't think if Jen is that difficult to get a hold of, as long as somebody objects to that, I don't think we need to do that.
They don't have the objection.
A second look is always good.
As long as they're effective, yes.
If there's a gem mechanic in the area, then
Yeah.
use them.
I agree.
Who do you use?
I'll have to get the card. on that.
That's what I
Let us know. I know we've tried some in the past, because that was the first thing whenever I came, I said, let's look at some of the local ones. We had one local one deny us because they're already so busy, they didn't want to deal with AP and AR, they like dealing with residential base. That was interesting.
That maybe.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just one of the, they're busy, the demand for service vehicles is so, or service technicians was so high, they can kind of pick and choose, they chose not to. So that's why, let us know, I just wanted to throw that as we
I'll
have
split
been
my person
declined
with Jared,
twice
you guys.
by local vendors. So I'm hoping they're not the vendors we reached out to.
They probably. do. But we'll see.
What does the villages do? They got more guns than anybody.
Yeah, they probably have this guy is busy all the time, so he can't come down.
Here you know that.
They also use golf carts.
I
Golf
mean,
cart.
Carlos,
Jared, are you okay with what?
We didn't come up with anything with weekly, so.
We can make that a standing item in our committee meetings.
I still don't understand what a fleet plan is.
How many vehicles are we buying over how many years and what's the replacement cycle? So
Whatever we need.
what's the? Okay.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah. I mean.
Today,
Feels like
we call it a crystal ball and you give me that, but
Yes, which-
it's a crystal ball.
The
I don't think that's.
So you wanna, why don't we have that conversation at the January finance meeting? We can continue that.
Because we go through the budget process.
I'm answering the question that I was just asked.
Mhm.
No, we did not do what I thought this was going to be.
Right, but we're focusing on replacing the nets and
What trend?
that's.
I would say, Jared, we can,
Listen, I got 2 months. Don't worry about it.
I think we need more information for that though, of what you're looking for.
What more information is needed though? 'Cause we need to get that.
What is
set
the mileage
because-
that they use on the vehicles? What's the need, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, we don't have the information.
I can't tell you that they need another vehicle more than what they already have.
Right now,
And they haven't presented anything to us to say there is that need except for. they-
But these are the questions that we should be asking so they can have them for the next meeting then.
Right, so for the finance committee, they should bring that to us in the third week of this month and we can have a conversation. And you take that.
right now, this thing is an anomaly. Because we've got NEVs that are breaking down and aren't working and whatever else at a rate that's beyond anything you could even anticipate. So we've got to get the thing stabilized and understand what base we've got. And I think with getting the trucks and making the migration to over the next 2 or 3 years, whatever it is, get them all out. Then I think we can make a better prediction. But right now, like it's not. We're gonna run them into the boneyard. Try to fix them up a little bit and run them into the boneyard.
But not if they're buying 6 this year.
No, that's, we're not buying all of them. We're gonna have them, we'll have four navs left.
So we have 9 in total. The recommendation I captured is to replace 6 this year. Fund fixing 3 of the current NEVs and reevaluate those replacements in 1 year's time. For the vehicle replacements this year, do not, or looking at purchasing outright, look at financing options and look into how that works with our, with the HOA restrictions. And I freaking no service plans. But that
Yeah,
part,
that's fair. And then I think for you on all vehicles, we need pretty much a monthly usage of how much mileage, so we can start seeing where that fits into. How many vehicles are being used for which miles, what's the usage, what's the groups, all that type of stuff. That's almost like a work study for your employees. Where is the need, where is the shortage, and that's an ongoing conversation.
We've already started that process where we captured the miles in December. We just recaptured all miles today. knowing, and then we have it requested for 2 weeks' time as well, because knowing that the time from when we started December to now went through the
Yeah, I'll say
holidays.
we have 3 to 4 months of data.
But we'll
start
continue
looking
that
at
process.
What does a normal 3-month rolling average look like for usage?
And which is critical because again, a lot of this depends on what's gonna be left in the replacement fund and what's gonna be in the capital. After, the final fixing of town hall. So this is why I think we have to get through this first year and then really look at the funds and see, okay, what can we do? Because if this is a lot more coming out of replacement, which has been at about $1 million throughout the year, we are increasing it to 1.4 for next year as far as contributions to it. But this isn't going to be cheap to do, so we got to monitor that too, because we cannot let our funds go down to zero.
No. I don't think we'll let that happen. For the record, then, I think Andrew and I were saying replace 5, and you countered with 6. And we're at 6 now. So I'm not sure how we got to the 6 other than you said, well, we can do 6.
5 trucks and 1 car.
You countered with that, yeah. So I'd still like to think that if you go back and look at it, and maybe with that change of the standards people, the
The
covenant,
6 was with the changing standards people.
That's gonna
It's a
maybe
5
be
trucks
possible
and
with-
1 car.
With the reevaluation and so with 6, it's keeping these 3 highlighted in green. This is a 2022, this is a 2022, there's one of the 2022s that is not, that we would be recommending not keeping. I had it the wrong one. And keeping the 2021 maintenance now.
well, let me propose it this way. Do a plan with 6 and do a plan with 5, and tell us what the downsides are to going 5.
Yeah, we'll have to negotiate that, see what you can get.
Let's be more fact-based than just sitting here and throwing numbers back and forth across the table. So work up a plan both ways and tell us what the differences are.
I'm good. See you guys soon.
Yeah, good.
I'm good.
You guys all okay?
You'll write, Jacob, you'll write it up and get it out to us so we can see it before it goes to the board.
Yes,
Thanks.
I'll figure the price and work at the prices for those as well. They will have the trucks, the Ford Mavericks will have the addition of the utility shelf
For sure. Yeah.
that you'll see on there. Those aren't quite cheap. However, they are, if we do look at replacing the vehicles in the future, the shell is a modular piece that can be kept by the association.
And don't forget Don's point. I think you gotta explore it a little bit. You know, what's the possibility or feasibility of getting low mile used cars, the trucks, same model. Little research on it. On that.
Yeah, he said that a few times, and I know Don McDonald's gonna ask that too, so not doing that will just.
Have the answer, whatever. it is.
Yeah, we'll research Ford Mavericks and see
What's available.
what's available on the used
There's
market.
Carmax and Carvana and all those people and just start searching them on the internet, see what's available.
And again, I would say they were 25 or 2026. They waited for 2025 and then it's take that off at a better price and try by 2026.
And remember that we're going to check out the financing. There's that incentive for
Yes.
financing. You
Yes.
might want to do that without wanting debt, like Jim did. No. We did it without debt.
Right.
We want to do it with debt.
Yeah, exactly. And I waited to pay it off until the day before they were gonna put it into a loan. So I had 30 days to hang out and not pay it off.
Mr. We're good, motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, coach. You wanna make a motion? No, I'll make. Second. All right. They're all in favor. Aye. Thank you all for your participation.